Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review. Today will be a special video as we jump into the time machine and travel back a whole 24 years to the year 2001. From McFarlane Toys, we have Spawn, The Dark Ages, The Samurai Wars. And we are looking more specifically at Lotus Angel Warrior. Alright, so I was at one of the local collectible toy stores today and I came across this. It was only $8, and I couldn't say no to it. I'm a sucker for the old McFarlane Spawn action figures. And this one, even though the engineering is very dated by today's standards, the presentation I think is second to none. Nowadays, you're not going to find an action figure outside of McFarlane or NECA that looks as detailed and as beautiful as this. Crazy to think that in 2001, you were only paying $5.99 for this action figure at KB Toys. KB Toys, RIP. I miss that store a lot. On the back of the box, we have the Lotus Angel Warrior and some other figures in the line like Samurai Spawn, Dojo, Jayaku the Nightmare, Jackal Assassin, Scorpion Assassin. Nice little tiny bio on the Lotus Angel right here. And then we have some other action figures put out by McFarlane. Much like today, they even had a focus on music-inspired action figures. Even anime, there was Armitage the Third. And just a lot of cool-looking stuff. Alright, so let's take out the Lotus Angel Warrior. Alright, there was this at the bottom of the box. What is this? Little pamphlet. Alright, so these are instructions for the figure. Alright, so you can pull the staff apart and attach it to her back. And then her battle standard could attach to the back as well. Lord, I apologize, these accessories are not coming out of the tray. There we go. Alright, so she comes with this wild looking staff. It kind of has like a crescent blade toward the top. Really beautiful finish on here. You'll notice a nice ink wash. It's to kind of like really bring out the detail in the recesses. Nice little hint of red. The handle is well sculpted, also well painted. Beautiful looking weapon. As for the Lotus Angel Warrior herself, again, like I stated, you're not going to find a more beautiful action figure in today's market unless it's produced by McFarlane or NECA. You know, the presentation of this thing is just beautiful. And for a figure that's 24 years old, it still really holds up in terms of the overall presentation. You know, just look at the detail and the sculpting. And keep in mind, I think this predates digitally rendered prototypes. I think this is like all hand sculpted. You know, nowadays a lot of action figures are designed on the computer, and I think back then this was all hand done. And it's gorgeous. Just look at that. Really beautiful piece. Does her headdress come off? No, it does not. And then you can see her face underneath the helmet. Really, really cool. The swords seem like they're permanently affixed to the figure. They don't want to come out. Much like a lot of McFarlane figures during this time period, they weren't really intended to be played with. These were more so like display pieces. So essentially, you're just looking at a very small and detailed statue. You know, articulation is pretty much, I think, non-existent on this figure. I don't think anything here really moves, which I don't mind. You know, for me, this is just all about presentation. And I believe the spear, you can store it on the back of the figure. I think that's what the instructions said. Yeah, so you remove that, and then this slides in, I think. And then you reattach this again. But you get the point. This is kind of a tight fit. I don't want to force it due to the age of the plastic. But yeah, gorgeous looking figure. This really, really is something else. And I have another McFarlane figure that I want to take out. This is the legendary Mandarin Spawn. Again, with an Asian theme. I think they complement each other really well. This figure feels a little bit on the shorter side. If I had to guess, maybe about 6.5 inches. And it's about 6 3/4, so I'm close. Here she is next to a modern Marvel Legends X-Men Vulcan figure. So you can see it's kind of within the same scale. And then here's a Mattel Cody Rhodes. Again, kind of within the same scale. So yeah, very stoked on this figure. Right now, I've said this before, I'm all about the feels. So I'm kind of trying to hunt down these older McFarlane figures whenever I get the chance. You know, if I find them for like a very reasonable price, you know, I have no problem pulling the trigger on it. Like for me, $8 on this was a steal. You know, this is a beautiful figure, and it's gonna be such a wonderful display piece. It really makes me want to seek out more Dark Age Spawn action figures, especially from the Samurai Wars. This is really a beautiful figure. The detail is just outstanding. Alright, so with that being said, let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. Alright, later.